Hare Krishna, good morning. Morning we will read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 20, the rainy season and autumn in Vrindavan. The rainy season and autumn in Vrindavan. Text 48. We are nearly at the end of the chapter. One verse more to go. Today we will discuss text 48. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastabesya Bhatresu Nityam Bhakta Sevya Bhagavate Uttamastoke Bhaktir Bhavate Naistike. Yeah, but we don't have it on the screen. No, I've just will read it. Recite it in Sanskrit fast.
What's the verse?
10, 20, 48. 48. Canto 10, chapter 20, 48. 48. Urakamasthagayanes Indriyasa Mahotsavaya Pabhabhu Pakva Sasyathyam Kalabhyam Nitaram Hare Urakamasthagayanes Indriyasa Mahotsavaya Pabhabhu Pakva Sasyathyam Kalabhyam Nitaram Hare Purakamasthagayanes Indriyasa Mahotsavaya Pabhabhu Pakva Sasyathyam Kalabhyam Nitaram Hare. Someone wants to repeat.
Paragrameshwa Agrayanaye Indriyasya Bhokshavaye Vabhau Upakva Shastradhyam Kalabhyam Nitaram Hare.
Words, yeah.
Paragrameshwa Agrayanaye Indriyasya Bhokshavaye
Very nice. Good. Word for word translation. Pura. In the towns, Rameshu, and villages, Agajane, with performances of Vedic sacrifice for tasting the first rains of the next harvest.
With performance of Vedic sacrifice for tasting the first rains of the new harvest.
In the Yai, with other worldly celebrations, Ja and Maha Utsavai, great celebrations. Baba, Shon, Bu, the earth, Pakva, ripe, Sasya, with her grains, Adya, rich, Kala, she who is the expansion of the Lord. Abhyam, with those two, Krishna and Balaram, Nitaram, very much. Hare, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by the disciples of Prabhupada, but also by Prabhupada, because his commentaries come from Krishna book, and the light of the Bhagavad also. That comments on these verses, very nice. Okay, then we go to the translation. In all the towns and villages, people held great festivals, performing the Vedic fire sacrifice for honoring and tasting the first grains of the new harvest, along with similar celebrations that followed local custom and tradition. Thus the earth rich with newly grown grain, and especially beautified by the presence of Krishna and Balaram, shone beautifully as an expansion of the Supreme Lord. Purport. The word Arhajanai refers to a particular authorized Vedic sacrifice, and the word Indriyai refers to folk ceremonies that have somewhat worldly objectives. Srila Prabhupada comments as follows, that's Krishna book. During autumn, the fields become filled with ripened grains. So at that time, the people become happy over the harvest and observe various ceremonies such as Navana, the offering of new grains to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The new grains are offered to the deities in various temples, and all are invited to take sweet rice made from the new grains. There are other religious ceremonies and methods of worship, particularly in Bengal, where the greatest of all such ceremonies is held, called Durga Puja. So I read the verse once again. Purakamesh Akajanech Indriyasha Mahotsavai Bababu Pakva Sasyatya Kulabhyam Nitaram Aghe. In all the towns and villages, people held great festivals, performing the fire sacrifice for honoring and tasting the first grains of the new harvest, along with similar celebrations that followed local customs and tradition. Thus the earth, rich with newly grown grain, and especially beautified by the presence of Krishna and Balaram, shone beautifully as an expansion of the Supreme Lord. Om Ajnana Divanasya Jananjana Shnakem Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutalesham Rupkadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Padakamalam Shikam Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savdutam Parjanasaitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Gauna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Chirapate Gopesha Kopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavanashve Vishabhana Sutta Devi Panamama Haripriye Vancha Kalpta Visha Kripa Snibhe Visha Padnam Pavanbhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharini Nirvishesha Singhavadi Paskachai Desatarni Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, there are also commentaries on this verse by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. But we will first look at the commentary of Srila Prabhupada. So, Krishna consciousness is a festival. Every day is a festival. We have so many festivals that, and this is just one of them. In Vrindavan, Vrajavasis, they offered the first grains of the new harvest. That is a principle in devotional service that we offer the first thing of a harvest to Krishna. Before we use something, we offer it to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada was I think it was in San Francisco with all the hippies there. That the hippies, they came to the morning program to get down from the effect of their drugs. That was their program, to get rid of their side effects. They came to the morning program. But they heard Prabhupada, and hearing Prabhupada is very powerful. And he also explained that principle that the first time we use it, something we offer it to Krishna. And the hippies came with a new blue jeans to the temple to offer it to Krishna. And they used it. Anyway, that I found it interesting. That but that's the principle. The first harvest we offer to Krishna. Even in medieval times in the West, that the first harvest would be offered to the king, the best, and the best of it. That was the principle. So the Vrajavasis, they followed this, the first grains to be offered to the Supreme Lord. That the first new grains. So in the matter of offering things to Krishna, we offer always the best. That when we are using cooking pots, they are only used for Krishna. And we get new pots, we use it for Krishna. We never use used pots for Krishna. by someone else. Also, he should be the first. So that's the principle of Krishna is bhakta Tapasam, Bhaktam Tapasam is the first enjoyer of everything. Why is he the first enjoyer? And we as people, they say, why? Because he's the proprietor of everything. That's why. That Bhaktam Sarva Tapasam, Sarva Lokamashram, he's the proprietor of everything. So we offer it first to him. So that is a basic principle of spiritual life. That in Shir Upanishad, this is called the Isa Vasya principle. Everyone, everything belongs to Krishna. But one may argue, but we are also Krishna, little parts of Krishna, minute parts. So we have also a right of something. Shir Upanishad said, yes, that is your quota. But that's not much. That's our quota. But what's the problem in this world? Everyone wants more than his quota. And that is sinful. So this is based on deep religious principles. Krishna is the owner of everything, and therefore everything in the harvest which is new is offered to Krishna. But how to offer it, how to do that in an auspicious way? We want to offer it to Krishna, but not only the item we offer, but also the moment must be auspicious. Yeah. The best moment that and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives details about how this sacrifice was performed. Let's hear what he says. So Agrayana refers to a Vedic sacrifice of offering the new grains. The Smriti scriptures, that's where all that information is found, in the Smriti scriptures. The Smriti are the Puranas, yes, and Mahabharata, Ramayana, and the Shruti. The four Vedas, Atharva Veda, Sama Veda, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, the Shruti, because it has been spoken by the Supreme Lord directly to the heart of Brahma, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye, and Shruti. And the Mahabharata, Shruti or Smriti? Smriti and Bhagavad Gita. It's Shruti, Bhagavad Gita. There's Shruti in the Smriti. There's Shruti in the Mahabharata. That also in the Bhagavatam, you have the Uddhav Gita. Who spoke the Uddhav Gita? Uddhav repeated it, right? He spoke it to the sages of Badarika. But because that was his mission, he received that knowledge from Krishna. But originally it was spoken by Krishna, the Uddhav Gita. Shruti in the Smriti. And interesting. But all these details are in the Smriti scriptures. Smriti scriptures are technically called the commentaries of the sages, self-realized sages on the scriptures. And this offering of new grains is also called navana. And navana should not be performed on the Nanda Tithi, not while Vishnu is sleeping. When is Vishnu is sleeping? You know? Chaturmasya, yeah. The Chaturmasya. Vishnu is sleeping. Is sleep is like our sleep? No. Nidra? Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra. This Yoga Nidra, he has his eyes half open. But, this Yoga Nidra is one of Krishna's spiritual energies. That's not material. Our Nidra is a little different. That our Nidra is caused by, Nidra Devi. Yeah, Tamagun, Nidra Devi. Nidra Devi had her place of residence is the night. Nidra Devi went to Lord Vishnu and said, okay, my vase is night, but what is my vase during the day? And Lord Vishnu said, during the day you can go where Krishna Katha is spoken. And then enter the hearts of those who are asleep. In the 70s, there was one book distributor in North America. At the time, when we could still do book distribution in the airports, right? And he came across a man, and he wanted to give him first country of the Bhagavatam, which was just out. And man said, no use to give me a book. I can't sleep at night. I can't concentrate on reading. The Lord said, then this book is for you. Every morning in our temple, we read this book, and from the moment we open it, all of the devotees fall asleep. I'm not sure he distributed the book, but that was Nidra Devi. But yeah, while Vishnu is sleeping in Yoga Nidra, the Chaturmasya period, this is cannot be performed. And not during the waning phase of the moon. You have the waning phase, and you have the waxing. The waxing is called Gaura Paksa, and the waning is called Krishna Paksa. So it cannot be performed during the Krishna Paksa. Someone studied astrology here? So in astrology, this is a general principle. If the moon is waning, it becomes inauspicious. It's an inauspicious influence. It depends how it is associated with a malefic or a benefic planet. And on the other side, when it's waxing, it's considered auspicious. The same principle is here. So when it's waning, this is not done. It's during the waxing or during the month of Kartik, cannot be performed in Kartik. That's what it says. Therefore, so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he knows all these things. And he says, therefore, he calculates when this ceremony has been performed. Very clever. He comes to the conclusion, Dennis. So he's saying, therefore, actually, this ceremony does not occur during the Kartik month, but rather in the Agrahayana month after the Uttan Ekadashi.
So that's September.
The Uttam Ekadashi. When is the Uttam Ekadashi? Uttam. It says here, Uttana. Uttana. Yeah. Which month is it? You know? Yeah. In which month? Is it after Kartik? Yeah.
That's a harvest.
Yeah. It should be the month.
That's September.
September. Could also be. Yeah. But we can see in the calendar when Uttan Ekadashi is, then we know.
Is during Kartik.
During Kartik.
Uttan
Uttan.
is during Kartik. Is the Ekadashi of the period of the
Okay. It's in the month after Uttan Ekadashi. It's not on Uttan Ekadashi, it's the month after the ceremony. So it is still after it. Yeah.
But then there's no harvest.
Yeah, but the harvest, but the offering of the new grains is done on this date.
Yeah, harvest is ready.
Yeah, afterwards. They have the harvest, and then they prepare, they may have to make the grains. Yeah, but it seems that's what Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur says. Indriyai refers to sacrifices for Indra to satisfy his senses. This description took place before the year in which Krishna stopped Indra worship. Because afterwards it's not be done. Then it's from then onwards it has been Govardhan. So it must have before. How old was Krishna when he lifted Govardhan? 8? Was he 7 or 8? Was his age? Yeah. 7? Yeah, so it was before 6 years. Yeah. So, because this description took place before the year in which Krishna stopped Indra worship, the herb bull is a Shakti, Kala of Hari. So, just as by the mercy of Krishna and Balaram, Abhayam, the earth, the Shakti of the Lord, became resplendent. So the earth became resplendent with festivals of Navana and worship of Indra in the villages. That means it was done in many villages, this festival of Navana. So Ari also means the moon. Arer Kalabhyam means by the phases of the moon. Just as the earth became splendid with festivals held by the king's celebrations, the phases of the moon, but held by the king celebrating the phases of the moon on the first and second tithis of the waxing moon, as it rose in the evening, so the earth became resplendent with the many festivals held by the villages. So the earth became very happy. So we can imagine when Krishna was there, the earth gave grains in abundance, so many grains that we see that also when Krishna went for herding the cows and all the cowboys, they assembled before the house of Nanda Maharaj. When they were leaving, all the pious trees were offering flowers to Krishna. So many flowers fell from the trees, and all the plants with fruits and trees offered their fruits to Krishna. Everything was in abundance. When Krishna left the planet, there were so many inauspicious omens. But when Krishna was there, because the earth was happy and wanted to give, she felt ecstasy. It is said that the trees on the earth were like the hairs on our body, and they were standing erect out of ecstasy. So the earth was very pleased. Now we have Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami is an earlier commentary, and his spiritual master was Jiva Goswami. Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami. So we have also a commentary of Sanatana Goswami. Jiva Goswami said, the earth was glorious with festivals in the cities like Mathura and the villages like Nanda's place. Nabana nevanam dayam nasa supte chanardane. Na Krishna pakshe danusi tulayam naivikarayat. Krishna paksha. The new rice ceremony should be done on Pratipad. Pratipad, the first day of the maximum. Pratipad. Yeah, on Pratipad, on Ekadashi, or no, it should not be done on Pratipad, the first day, Ekadashi, the 11th day, or Shashti, the 6th day. So all details. Or should not be done when the Lord sleeps, or also not in the waning moon phase of Kartik. In the waning moon phase of Kartik, it says. Or Pausa months. So thus the festival of new rice should take place in the Agrahayana month after the Lord sleeping on the milk ocean wakes up. This after Chaturmasya. So it takes place during the autumn season. Indriya Kamas. The person who desires strong senses should worship Indra. That's in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.2. Second canto, third chapter. What is this chapter about? It gives, yeah? Third chapter. Your devotional service. But that chapter in the beginning gives also a list for materialistic people. Which demigod they should worship to get results. If you want to have a beautiful wife, you can worship goddess Uma. Yeah. And here it is said that if you want to have strong senses, you must worship Indra. Thus there is much worship of Indra at this time. Previously, this worship took place during Kartik in Vraj. But Krishna stopped this and instead Govardhan worship took place. So Nanda respected the Indra worship since it was handed down as a local custom. The earth, the Shakti of the Lord, was constantly glorious in the presence of Krishna and Balaram, Abhaya. So when you come in contact with Krishna, then you feel always happiness. Srila Prabhupada said, yeah, he showed his devotees to see how bright-faced that they are. Always smile. That dukkha na sukha. Okay, this is a comment of Shiva Goswami. And his spiritual master Sanatana Goswami. He says, in cities like Mathura or Nandishvar, and in the villages around Vrindavan controlled by Nanda, the earth was glorious because of the most beautiful forms of Krishna and Balaram, manifesting their qualities as Bhagavan, who were also Narayan. Or the earth was glorious because two portions of Bhagavan, or two beautiful forms of Bhagavan. Or the earth was glorious because of Nanda and Yasoda, the two protectors, since they were prominent in inviting everyone to the festivals. Kala stands for Kalayati, one who protects with affection. Or Kalabhyam can refer to the two festivals held at this time, Waking Up the Lord and Ratayatra. The earth was especially Nitaram, glorious by these two festivals. Not sure which Ratayatra is meant for. These are the commentaries of our acharyas. Many technical details that good. Any comments or questions? Yes.
Mr. Maharaj, you mentioned in the beginning that the Vedas were imparted in the heart of Brahma by Krishna. So how can we explain to outsiders, because the devotees have faith that the scripture are coming from Krishna, so how can we explain to non-devotees that Vedas is a Trikalagyan and then he wrote all these Vedas? And for my question with that is, can you explain to us how Vyasadeva wrote down those Vedas? What was the process of his writing? Is it coming from his heart? He heard it? How was it?
Yeah, there are a lot of questions. What was your first question?
So they're all connected to the same point, but it's like how Vyasadeva writes the Veda.
How did Srila Vyasadeva write the Veda? That you have the answer. Krishna has his expansions. That he has his Pamsa expansions. That these details are found at the end of the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Adilina. All this are explained. But you have his Pamsa, his full expansions, but also his Vaibhava expansions. That these Vaibhava expansions, they are endowed with a certain opulence of the Lord. And so some of these Vaibhava expansions are Sakyaveshavatars. And what is the opulence that Srila Vyasadeva had? He was empowered to write the Vedas. Divya Gyan. So how do you get Divya Gyan? That's the question. Without Divya Gyan, you don't have realizations. You cannot write. So what do we sing every morning? Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita. Remember? That in Guru Puja, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita. Divya Gyan Hriday, heart, Prakashita appears. By the mercy of the spiritual master, the Divya Gyan appears within the heart. That and who gives Divya Gyan? Divya Gyan, who gives it in the heart? Paramatma. Good. Paramatma. Tesham satayuktanam vachitam pitapurukam dadami buddhyogantam. Krishna says, I give within the heart. And he says that he gives it in the heart. In the next verse, Tesham evanakampatam amma jnanachamtama natacham natmabhavastu ganatpanabashvuta. I'm sitting in the heart, in your heart. I, with the lamp, with the jnana dipenda, I'm going into the heart and gives you the knowledge. But of course, we get this Divya Gyan, and for us, we get Divya Gyan in our heart becomes purified. Purified, purification. Takes a long time usually. Yeah, mostly by being in this material world, the heart has become very dirty, and a cleansing process takes a while. But had Srila Vyasadeva, did he have to go to that process? No, he was a Sakya-Vesa avatar. He was already self-realized. What does it know? But what does it know mean? Self-realized? You have a pure heart. Are you self-realized? Not yet. Then you have to develop love for Krishna. That it's only a stage. Love for Krishna. And then you have Paramatma realization, Krishna in your heart. Then you come to the Bhagavan realization. That's the process of devotional service. And when you come on Bhagavan realization and you attain prema, you are coming to the transcendental platform. How? Because that's interesting. We are spirit soul. We are transcendent. Why are we in this body? That because Krishna says, Aparayam etats pamyam prakati vidame param. He says the soul belongs to the higher energy, spiritual energy. But we are higher energy, but we have become the servant of the lower energy. We are being controlled by the lower energy now, by Prakriti. That's not our normal condition. But the soul has the power to transcend the material energy. We have the power, but we have forgotten. Hanuman had also forgotten his powers, because he was very powerful and he wanted to eat the sun, but that would have become a cosmic disaster, and the demigods wanted to prevent it. And Indra gave him a slap, and by that he forgot his powers. So we have also forgotten our powers. How to transcend. That's all in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Mama, Vamso Shrila Kashiva, Bhuta Sanatana. We are part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna says you have to become a Mahatma. Mahatma is the Mahabharata Devi in Bhagavad-gita. You have to take shelter of the spiritual energy. How to take shelter of the spiritual energy we have forgotten. And how to do that? Sadatam Kirtiyantamam Yadanta Sadhitavitam. With great determination, you have to hear about Krishna. And that by that we can understand who we are and what our powers are. And how to come to that, how to transcend. Mamsiyo Vyabhicharna Bhakti Yogana Sevati Saktam Samati Chitam Brahmabhuya Kalpate. By performance of pure devotional service, we can transcend the modes of nature. And what happens when you transcend the mode of nature? Then you become Trikalagya. You can see past, present, future. That
If Krishna allows.
if Krishna allows. And
Not automatic.
no, that was the case of Srila Vyasadeva. That so he knew the pastime, and but he didn't. He did not write them down. That was Ganesh. Ganesh wrote them down. That yeah. Yes.
That was correct. All this connection happens, but it's still like Krishna's arrangement. He sends his spokesman, representative. So even Vyasadeva, who got the inspiration of Shakti from Narayana.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's also Krishna's inspiration and interaction with the person of the spirit world.
Yeah.
Guru Parampara is essential even when you self-realize.
Yeah, that's interesting. Guru Parampara, the spiritual master of Srila Vyasadeva, was Narada Muni. And we see in the beginning of the Bhagavatam how he chastised Srila Vyasadeva. He said, you wrote all this Vedic literature, but you missed the essence, you missed the clue. That and then, of course, yeah. Then he compiled the Bhagavatam afterwards. That's the history of the Bhagavatam, which is explained in the Bhagavatam. So some scholars they want to know the history of the Bhagavatam, but it's explained in the Bhagavatam. That yeah. Yes. Good. Is that all? Something else? Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. Just to add to the question of me, because sometimes we go to distribute books and people ask a question like, okay, how do you know that this, because we are discussing because
Yeah.
we have faith in Shastra, what Shastra says.
Yeah.
But for those people, they don't have faith, and we have to try to bring them with logic to understand that, okay, this has sense, there is logic behind this. And in my case, because I was almost atheist, and I had like a logic process, and maybe it helped me to explain to those people that we met in book distribution. Because now, for example, it's very famous Sadhguru, Guru, and he explains things. He has like millions of followers, and he explains things like the law of attraction that is very more now, and the power of the mind, the power of the water also, and those things are already explained now for the science. The science is explaining with experiments the power of the mind, the power of the water, and those things are this knowledge comes from India, from the Vedas. I realized, okay, this knowledge comes from the Vedas.
Yeah, but it's not the real purpose of the Vedas. They get
No. It's just the logical change because I thought, okay, this knowledge comes from the Veda. But also Sadhguru explained that the man can get like superpower. It's something like beyond that. It's like cities. I said, okay, we
That's
can
a bluff. That's a bluff. It cannot happen in the stage.
Huh?
It cannot happen in the stage. Only the chanting can give you spiritual success. All those cities are not available.
No, but he explained that from the ancient knowledge, they say that it's possible at some point. It's possible.
Not at this age.
Yeah,
Yeah, I said, okay, it's possible because I experienced controlling my mind. I was interested to control my mind, mostly to release anxiety and stress. And I experienced that controlling my mind, I was able like manifest things. I say, okay, if I am able to do this, so, and there are more beyond that. what is beyond that? Yeah, was like
While you were developed some faith in the Vedas or speakers of the Vedas, the Purities, because that was, but others were simply looking for some material benefit. They're missing the whole point, including those who are following this Sadhguru. They're totally off track. They're missing the point. That's not the purpose of the Vedas. The purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna and relationship with Krishna. Okay?
I'm just telling to bring those atheistic people through a logic process to bring to the conclusion.
yeah, I would say, you want me to say something? Well, first, we have to consider always Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita, where he says that one should not explain the secret of devotional service to those who are not austere, who are envious of me, who are atheists. So we should not try to explain these things to them, because that will increase their envy towards Krishna. Then they are farther away from us. To understand this knowledge cannot be understood with scholarly endeavor. One can only understand this knowledge when one is receptive and follows the process. It's a mystical transfer of knowledge through the heart, transcendental knowledge. And the beginning of that process is dat vinapune partner pariprashna sevya protection te tegam jnana production. We must first approach one who has realized this knowledge, serving and inquiring about spiritual life submissively. And then what happens when you do that? You start a process, and that process will lead to yat anapunamarman yena yasyasi pandava yena bhutani ashishani rakshasi atmatyatomai. Gradually you start to see that all living entities are spirit souls and that they belong to Krishna. We are all part of Krishna. So you become gradually Krishna conscious. Abstasa Pablo Salvabio Papakitama Savagana Plaveniva Vechinam Santarishan. And then you come on the boat of this transcendental knowledge. And you will be able to cross over the ocean of material existence. And then your karma start to become burnt. So it's a process of self-realization that gives you that knowledge. And after many, many years, you start to understand something about spiritual life. In the beginning, it's all superficial. Because as long as you are attached to sense gratification, it will not happen in your heart. You have to transcend this. Understanding, realize we are a spirit soul. And that's a process. And Krishna knows this is only for a few in this world. Those who are devotees, Prabhupada said, are very intelligent. Very intelligent. But to get this transcendental IQ, you must give up your endeavor to understand it with your material IQ. Logic as a supporting factor in devotional service. It supports, but logic is a servant of Krishna. And Krishna is translogical. Translogical. He walks and he does not walk. He's far away and he's close by. That from a materialistic viewpoint, that's nonsense. That's not possible. So Krishna is translogical. It's beyond our mundane knowledge. And so you cannot explain Krishna in a few moments to someone and the process. No. You be nice with them. You don't discuss these things. But give them a book. If they open a book, Prabhupada is preaching to them. And then it depends on their inner attitude. If they at least theoretically accept Prabhupada and Krishna, there's a chance they may understand it. But it's mostly a process over many lifetimes before you are ready for it and perceptive. Prabhupada knew this. He came to the West and he was preaching to the hippies. Hippies were already halfway. They had already given up their materialistic lifestyle. They were receptive. That mostly vegetarians may also be receptive. But try to find out those who are receptive. And those who want all these mystic powers and are misled, we pray for them, but let them go. Yes, Paul, any comments? Good. Thank you very much. Chandra, speak on.